We're recording now. I'm gonna go live on Facebook. So I know this already started recording. I just want to welcome everyone. We are going to just wait for a minute until we get our Facebook Live set, and it looks like it's ready. So I just wanted to welcome everyone to this community meeting today. I am just going to share really quick with my guest today the link on the chat, Max, so you could have it. Um, and I'm going to start letting people come in. Um, and so while we do this, we want to welcome everyone. We are through Facebook Live. We're here through Zoom. Tomorrow morning, this will be already on YouTube, so you guys could watch it. Guys could watch the recording of this. So there's multiple ways of you getting this information out to the community. I am extremely happy to have an incredible individual today with us, a person who really made a really extremely hard situation an opportunity to make sure that others don't go through what his family went through. And so today we have Max. He is the founder and CEO of Safe Schools for Alex. I didn't want to risk to say your last name, Max, because I always make mistakes with last names. So I want to try it. Is Schachter? Yeah.
Oh, yep. Yes. Schachter. Yes.
It was close
you did
enough.
Great. Yes.
All
yes.
right.
Yes.
And so today we're talking about school safety, and specifically we're talking about that because we just passed the 4 year of the remembering MSD, and for that I want to ask the people who are joining to just give it a 30-second of silence for the adults and students that lost their lives due to this tragedy. So, Max, welcome tonight.
Thank you.
We have again people on Facebook Live. We have people here on the Zoom. More people will rolling in as we keep sharing it, and I will make sure that we do that. As I mentioned, you are the CEO of Safe Schools for Alex, and the idea tonight is we are all concerned about the security and safety of our kids, and especially after what happened at the mass shooting in Parkland. But you have a personal story to bring into this. You lost your son, and I'm sorry about that, about your loss. And we don't want any other parent or any other community or any other family to go through this. And you made this really hard situation into something that brings hope to other people and something that it's helping others to feel more aware of what happens in their schools. And we're going to go through that too. But before that, welcome. Hopefully you could share with us the incredible work that you're doing. But let's talk about how you created your foundation, what is the background that you have, and then we look into the tool.
Yeah. So thank you for having me, John. And after the shooting, it was 3 years ago on Sunday. I was so angry and so mad. I didn't understand. We made the airport safe after 9/11. We made the courthouses safe after the the bombing in the Murrow Federal Building, and but we're still having school shootings even after Sandy Hook and Virginia Tech. So I traveled this country to try to see, what other school districts were doing, and I was amazed that around the country they're doing really good things to make their students and staff safe and secure. But the rest of the country, a lot of the country doesn't know about it. And so I made 17 trips to Washington, D.C. to advocate for school safety. And we've made a lot of progress, but there's still a lot more to do. I think, as I travel, one common thread is that, and even in Parkland, we never thought it was going to happen here. I moved to Parkland because it was ranked as one of the safest places to live. And I sent Alex to school. Never even popped in my mind that he would never come home again, and that he would be murdered in his classroom. So, as I travel around and I speak around the country, I think the common theme is that no one thinks it's going to happen in their community, and as a result, the lack of prioritization of safety and security is really, really prevalent, and people are just they take it for granted. And so that's why I try to tell Alex's story and tell about what happened in Parkland, because if it can happen here, it can happen anywhere.
Right. So true. And so just so for people to understand, there is a model that all schools have to go through, and you, Max, maybe at this point are an expert on this, but there is something called the incident reports. And the incident reports are, well, reports that are given based on incidents that are happening in the school at different levels, different, how you call it, different levels of importance, if you want to call it that way. Incidents with a gun, incidents with a knife, or incidents of punching, or bullying, or it escalates at different levels, and principals at the schools are required to report to their school district those reports, and those get sent to Tallahassee to the Department of Education. And so, tell us what exactly that you created, Max, and how this is going to revolutionize the way that we create accountability in the systems that we have at the state level and the local level, but also how we could be, and this is for me the most amazing part of all this project, is how we could be more aware of what's happening in our local schools to prevent these issues or these incidents to a scale and becoming something that then we will regret.
Yeah. If it's okay with you, John, I'd like to share my screen and show you what we're talking about here. I think it will help people. So let me start off by just talking a little bit about Alex. Alex was in 9th grade. Can you see my screen okay?
Yeah, perfect.
Okay. Alex was only 14 years old. He was in the band, and he loved being in the band. The band taught him really what a work ethic is. He worked, being in the band every summer, and he got stronger. And he understood the harder you work, the better you get. He made his best friends in the band, and it really built up his self-confidence. So that's why one of the initiatives we have in the charity that we started, Safe Schools for Alex, is to keep Alex's memory alive through music. And Alex played basketball. Alex was on the Parkland Rec basketball team. He won multiple championships, and he was a great player. And then on Valentine's Day 3 years ago, Alex was in the first classroom that was attacked by a murderer that walked into his school with an AR-15. And he killed Alex and 16 others in the worst day of my life. After many of these school shootings, the governor of each state forms a commission to investigate the tragedy. When they talked about the formation of that commission here, I wanted to be on that body. I wanted to find out what happened to Alex, and I wanted to hold those individuals accountable. And so I was appointed to the Marjory Stoneman Douglas High School Public Safety Commission that was formed by former Governor Rick Scott. And I made 17 trips to Washington, D.C. So I met with the president, the vice president on several occasions. And as I traveled the country, I realized that principals were really unequipped to now be school safety directors. They didn't go to school for this. They didn't learn about how to make schools safe. And so we came up with this concept to create a federal school safety clearinghouse in the federal government. The president agreed with the idea, and now that clearinghouse sits in the Department of Homeland Security. So I encourage everyone to go to schoolsafety.gov. That's a one-stop shop for best practices, resources, and grant dollars. So no longer do schools have to go to multiple different agencies to hunt down the grant dollars. It's all in one place at schoolsafety.gov. And we formed Safe Schools for Alex. So what I alluded to earlier is one of our initiatives that to keep Alex's memory alive is called Let the Music Play On. And that program gives middle school band students in low-income communities free private online music lessons. And we've delivered over 400 of those music lessons to children in Title I schools. And that's really been very rewarding to me. During COVID, kids are not doing band. They like canceled band and they're not. And so that's the last thing we want. We don't want kids to put their instrument down, never pick it up again. And it did so many wonderful things for Alex. So hopefully, that will do the same thing for other children. And then we launched the School Incident Report, which is the first statewide dashboard to reduce violence in school in Florida. And that's what we're going to talk about today. So if you go to our website, it's safeschoolsforalex.org, and you click up at the top, you'll be able to navigate to the School Incident Report. This dashboard was funded by Safe Schools for Alex on our website, and all the data that's on the School Incident Report comes from school districts' information and data that they share with the Department of Education. And the mission of the dashboard is to reduce violence, reduce suspensions, and create a positive culture and climate by educating stakeholders and spreading awareness to not only legislators and school board members, but to parents who really need to know this information to make their school safe. So,
Max,
John,
before we get into that, one of the things that you mentioned is awareness. And I remember when we had our first conversation, you were talking about workshops and bringing resources to schools that are having out of the charts incidents. What is happening with the community? Why there is a school that you might think is not having incidents and it's having a lot of incidents? And maybe we're going to go through that through your presentation. But can you talk a little bit about this comprehensive way of not just punishing the school because he's having a lot of incidents, but how we could address this in a way that we could really bring resources to the principal, to the BSO, to everyone who is part of the community at school that could make the transition into becoming to become a more safe and sound school than what it was before.
Yeah, so I totally agree with you. The site is not designed at all to be punitive. On the contrary, what I would like to do is to pat schools on the back for reporting high numbers and accurately reporting incidents, because it's important that they communicate with their parents. Schools cannot do this on their own. This has to be a holistic and a collaborative approach, between parents, communities, and schools to reduce violence on campus. And so what we're hoping is that by publishing this data that's already out in the public, but putting it in a user-friendly dashboard, school board members and legislators will look at this data and be able to surge resources into the schools and help the children that need it most. Okay, and that's what Safe Schools for Alex is in the process of developing, is a grant program so that based on the dashboard, if you rank in the top 10 of any category, that you'll be able to apply for these grant dollars to lower the amount of violence in your school, lower the numbers of suspensions, and create a positive culture and climate.
And that's definitely something that we need in every school. But so here you have what it's actually how is that the report it's populated, right?
Yeah, so these are the Cesar incidents. So you've got sexual battery, physical attack, drug sales, weapon possession, drug use, and then here are the other Cesar incidents. And all of these incidents, when any of these incidents happen in a school, this information is reported to the State Department of Education, and that's the data that we're using to populate our dashboard. Okay, fighting, sex offenses, bullying, all this information that parents didn't even know existed is now readily available. So when I found out that this information was available, they said, okay, go to the Department of Education website, click on this Excel spreadsheet, and this is what I found. It's 10 million data points. And there's no way for me to look at trends, to search Alex's school to see what's going on. So that's the reason we took this data and created the school incident report, so that parents and schools and our legislators would be able to have easy access to this information to help the children that need it most. So here's an example. Now parents have the ability to go online into our school incident report and type in your school. If you type in Marjory Stoneman Douglas, this was what will come up, that they reported 1.3 incidents per 100 students. So if you compare it to all the high schools statewide, it falls into a very low category. So in other words, 1.3 is right here on in this scatter chart. And we have some schools that are reporting 10 incidents per 100 students, 11 incidents and 12 incidents. But if you compare all of them, that's the reason why Marjory Stoneman Douglas came in at a very low incident ratio, and that's the reason they're ranked 78. So they have a school incident ranking of 78 as compared to all the other schools statewide. If you scroll down, you can hover over violent incidents, and you'll see that Marjory Stoneman Douglas reported 6 violent incidents, fighting and threats. And then they reported 1 property incident, which was vandalism. They reported 35 drug and public order incidents, being tobacco and drug use. Here's a school that it's Mariner High School that is in Lee County. They reported 11.5 incidents per 100 students. That's why they're ranked in the very high category, and they have a school incident ranking of 504 out of 505 high schools. And then, Mariner High School, if you hover over violent incidents, they reported 27 violent incidents, fighting, physical attack, harassment, 3 property incidents, which were vandalism, and 147 drug and public order incidents. And then also on the left side, we've got the suspension data. So Mariner High School reported 176 in-school suspensions and 69 out-of-school suspensions. 59 miles are not good. You can look at the compare page, and the compare page gives you a lot of different ways to analyze the data. So for instance, here I have it sorted by fighting. Okay, so you can see that Broward County reported the most fighting in the state of Florida, 2,200 incidents. And we look at fighting because fighting is the largest indicator of violence in a school. And then next is Hillsborough and Orange. You can sort it by bullying. Miami-Dade reported the highest incidence of bullying in the state. Here's physical attack numbers. So Hillsborough County reported the most, then Orange, and then Duval. And then here you can change it to school, and you can search every school in this state. So this shows us that OCPS Academy in Orange County reported the highest numbers of physical attacks incidents of any school in the state. And what we hope is that parents and school board members and legislators that see this site, it will encourage you to have a conversation with your school and your school board member to say, what can we do to reduce violence in our campus and make our schools safer?
And so we have some people in the audience. Just so you guys know, we are going to stop for questions. And we want to make sure that you guys also could ask Max about the dashboard and the reporting. The other thing that you mentioned when we met was that we could look into this by specific counties.
Hmm.
And I don't know if you're going to go over that, but also, making sure that we look over different school years, which is also something that in which school board members or the decision makers could look into. Maybe this specific district or this specific school was having really a lot of travels with this incidents, and over time something happened that we don't know about. What they put in place in order to decrease the number of incidents, or the other way around, the school
Right.
was really safe, and then now we have a lot of, I'm sorry, a lot of incidents coming in. What happened in that school and how we could support it.
Yeah, exactly. So, I can exit out of the PowerPoint and go to the actual site and show you where you can select Broward County, Dade County. You can also select a specific zip code. Here's sexual harassment. You've got drug use. I do want to highlight this to the people that are on the Facebook Live with us, is that this metric right here is very important. So, you know, you might say Mariner High School has, is a very large high school. And so that's why we would sort by incidents per 100. So this kind of levels the playing field and factors in enrollment. So I highly recommend to use this metric primarily. And then you can also look at incidents. John, we updated the site from when I showed you this before. We added
Okay.
this. So now you can see incidents, the numbers of incidents that were reported to law enforcement. So of the
Oh,
214 total incidents that Carver Middle reported, 187 of them were reported to law enforcement. They must have been very serious. And here's an actual percentage for you that we just added those columns in here. And then I just want to highlight before we take questions, the suspension section as well. If you hit the this hide show button right here, this will pop out a table, and we added a lot more detail since you and I spoke last. So for instance,
mm,
we we differentiated between in-school suspensions and out-of-school suspensions now. So in-school suspensions would be very minor infractions, such as maybe the child forgot their lanyard or their badge, and if you forget your badge, 3 times, every school district has different matrices and rules, but this could be an example of an in-school suspension. And this is showing us that South Broward High School had the highest numbers of in-school suspensions of any school in the state.
wow.
And let's see if we have any other Broward County schools here. We've got some Miami-Dade, no other Broward County. And then again, the in-school per 100 is really a key metric to look at, factoring in enrollment. So this is showing us that, let's see, are there any Broward schools here? No. So this is showing us that Jinx Middle reported 47 in-school suspensions per 100 students. Here's out-of-school suspensions, and those would be the more serious infractions, violent infractions. And Ridge Community High School, the dark green are the top 10 in the state. So Polk had 4 of the top 10 schools, actually a lot more than that, 8 of the top 10 for out-of-school suspensions. And we don't have any in Broward. And then you've got out-of-school factoring in enrollment. This gives you the total incidents that the school reported, the total Cesar incidents. So we've got New River Middle reported 146
46.
total Cesar incidents last year. And this is the COVID year. So this is 1920. So we should see numbers, dropping this year as compared to the prior year, because school was basically out. They went virtual after March. But basically, and you've got New River, you've got Everglades and Parkway Middle. So, and then you got total incidents per 100. So if you can look at New River, they reported 332 in-school suspensions, 107 out-of-school suspensions. and the total incidents were 146. Now, this is a new metric that I want to show you haven't seen before. This compares out of school suspensions to incidents. So in other words, North Bay Haven Charter. And so I sorted it by middle schools. So North Bay reported 69 out of school suspensions, but they only reported 2 Cessor incidents. So we looked at that Cessor list. You know, it's fighting, sexual battery, weapons, 26 different incident categories. So they reported 69 out of school suspensions, which are the most serious, but only 2 Cessor incidents. Here's Bradford Middle.
And Max, why is that? What's the reason for that?
Yeah, so this metric is used to find and to identify, maybe shine a spotlight on a school that might be underreporting. You know, and so we don't want to make any assumptions. The reason for the site is to encourage parents and school board members to have a conversation with the principal and school board member. But, you know, a question to ask would be, so you've got Bradford Middle that suspended kids for, you know, very, very serious infractions. These kids did not get issued an in-school suspension. They got an out-of-school suspension, but they only reported 4 Cessor incidents. So, you know, what did all the other 110 out of school suspensions, what were they for? If they didn't fall into this, you know, the Cessor categories, you know, so it allows us to identify schools that, you know, you want to have a conversation. You know, you want to make sure we want to encourage accurate reporting, and these are red flags that schools might be underreporting.
Right, definitely. And so let me ask you 2 questions, and then we're gonna for everyone who's connected here and for people who joining in now on the Facebook Live too, write your questions on the chat. Write your questions here on the chat on the Zoom Live, or you can unmute yourself when we got to that point. Or if you're on Facebook Live, you could actually submit your questions on the chat. But let me ask you 2 questions before we get into that. The first question has to be with, I know you just started this crusade of educating people about this tool, but what has been the first impression talking to different leaders around the state and the counties that you visited already?
Yeah, so it's been overwhelmingly positive, and we're going to be putting up a list of quotes that people have given me for the site, from legislators in Tallahassee to congressmen in Washington, senators in Washington. We have the support of the Broward Teachers Union, of let's see here. I gave presentations to Palm Beach. Everybody's been very, very positive because they never had access to data like this. I gave presentations to 3 Broward County school board members. They told me they'd never seen information like this. If they want to look at what's happening inside a school, they got to send an email to the IT department. They have to run a report, and then 2 weeks later they get their results. And it's not like this. You know, we wanted to make this user friendly so that school board members know what's happening in schools and they can help the children that need it most. So I've given presentations to Miami-Dade County Public Schools, all over. It's been to sheriffs, police chiefs, the Broward Chiefs of Police Association. I'll give you an example. I spoke to Palm Beach County Schools several weeks ago. We had principals on the forum, and one of the principals said, "This is good because I could never see the numbers for another school. I got my numbers, but I don't know what the schools around me are doing." And so he says, "I'm going to look at the other neighboring schools that have the same demographics, are very similar in size to me, and if they have a lot lower numbers, I'm going to have a conversation. Maybe they have programs in that school that I don't have."
So the other question as a follow-up will be, what is next? How us as a community here in Broward, your home community, right, could help you to spread the word, to raise money? I know that you have a goal right now to raise money to scale this and make it more more finesse and, you know, and also because you have a foundation and you need to also pay your checks and pay your debts. What we could do in order to support this initiative and to make sure
Yeah.
that more people get impacted by this?
Yeah, thank you. I've done probably close to 30 different Zoom presentations
Wow.
for stakeholders all over the state. The Florida PTA was very supportive of the site. So, the reason I'm enjoying this is because I want everybody to know about this. Parents have never knew that this data existed, let alone had been able to access it and look up their school. So please help us share this site with your friends. Tell everyone, and help us support us. So there's a lot of ways that you can support Safe Schools for Alex. You can support our general fund. You can help us continue providing free private online music lessons through the Let the Music Play On program. You can help us support the school incident report in two different ways. The first way is we're developing that grant program so that we can encourage accurate reporting, pat schools on the back that are doing a good job in reporting. We want schools to let us know what's happening inside their campus. Knowledge is power, and we can't make schools safe if we don't know what's happening. So we're going to be developing programming so that we can help schools that are in the top 10 of the different categories that we talked about. So you can support us that way. And also, we first launched Florida. Our real goal is to take this and help children and parents all over the country. So we want to take the school incident report nationwide. We have merchandise on our site. You can set up a birthday fundraiser through Facebook. There's a lot of ways that you can help us, and we really appreciate any help.
Of course. So Matt, there is already questions on the chat, but I would like for Gary, if you want to unmute yourself and introduce yourself, to ask your question. Is that okay, Gary, or you don't want to be on the Zoom? And it's fine. We're getting used to do other things while we're hearing information. Gary, you unmute.
Hi, yes, yeah, that's fine. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes.
Hi, yes, I'm Gary Trynowski. I just I called into your Zoom meeting because I saw you on Facebook. I think we're connected, and my question relates to the metrics on what sort of data is being collected. I know your primary concern is kids' safety and sort of gathering incidents. My question is, are incidences like such as maybe a slip and fall, or since kids are working, maybe learning remotely, or such as like cybersecurity issues or maybe cyberbullying or things of that nature also gathered or in your metrics or considered a reportable incident?
Yeah, so there are 26 different CESAR incidents that the state requires schools report to them every year. So they're fully defined. There are statutes behind each of the CESAR incidents. So as soon as your child gets on the bus, your child is now, the school board is responsible for your child. So slip and fall is not considered a CESAR incident. It would be, we have three categories. So there's violent incidents, there's drug and public order incidents, and then there's property incidents like vandalism, theft, things like that. So yeah, weapons possession, sexual assault, drug use on campus, sexual assault, fighting, sex offenses, sexual harassment, bullying is an incident, harassment. So if any of those incidents happen, then the school is required to report that information to the State Department of Education. It's housed in a massive Excel spreadsheet, and then Safe Schools for Alex takes that data, and now we have it it's all in the school incident report so that parents can see it and look up their school and see what's happening after they drop their child off every day.
Awesome. And thank you,
Gotcha.
Gary,
Thank
for your
you.
question. No, thank you for your question. There is any other questions? This is the moment where we could ask questions to Max. Any other questions?
John, if you wouldn't mind,
Yeah, go ahead.
I wanted to just highlight this slide. So a lot of times people ask me, what can I do to make my school safer? And so we recommend three main things. Number one is to educate yourself, and you can do that by reviewing the low cost, no cost, immediately implementable school safety tactics that we have on Safe Schools for Alex. Before schools install bulletproof glass and fancy cameras, they need to do the low cost, no cost measures that are very easy. So I'll give you an example of one. At Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, the murderer did not enter into classrooms. He shot through Alex's glass that was in his door. So every classroom door has a piece of glass in the door that you can see in. Well, he shot right through that glass and was able to target Alex and three other children. Alex was just sitting at a desk in like a foursome working on an English project. And so one of these low cost, no cost measures is to take is to cover that glass with an opaque covering. And on the second floor of Marjorie Stoneman Douglas, nobody was shot because there were teachers that took a piece of construction paper, just covered the window so you couldn't see in. So that's very easily, very no cost. So familiarize yourself with those measures. Number two is research your school on the school incident report. Know what's happening inside your school, and then with that information, then you're equipped to have a conversation with your principal about what you saw in the school incident report, and ask them, have they gone on schoolsafety.gov? So the federal government created this school safety clearinghouse for schools and educators, and it provides all the best practices and resources to make your school safe. Has your principal gone on schoolsafety.gov? Have they filled out? Let's see here. Have they on schoolsafety.gov? There is a readiness tool where it asks 10 questions, 10 easy questions. Do you have a threat assessment team? Do you have an anonymous tip reporting line where kids can report in if a friend of theirs is considering committing harm to themselves or others? And after the school answers these 10 questions, it tells the school where your gaps are and what you need to prioritize first, do first, second. And then based on the school's answers, it will direct you to grant dollars so that you can fill those gaps in your readiness. So ask your school, did they fill out the readiness tool? And if they did, you'd like to sit down and go over with them. You'd like to see it. So
Right.
all these these tools and tips is how I would recommend parents get involved. And advocacy is the most important way. You having a conversation with your principal makes them understand that you care, and this is important, that they prioritize safety and security.
It's definitely something that I think we all have to do. I'm a parent of a 5-year-old. I didn't even thought about this even before we spoke or after we spoke. I think that it's important to educate ourselves. And you had your slide with your email, Max. I would love to leave that a little bit on the screen so people could see where they could find you. If they have questions, if they want to bring you to a community meeting for you to present, if they, again, want to engage with you, they want to help you to, of course, bring awareness to their communities. This is, the right way to do it, by connecting with Max over email. I did it, an introduction. Somebody put us in touch. We talk, and I thought this is something that is going to revolutionize how we see incidents, and second, how we access the information for those incidents, because I think that that is the most important part. And so if there is no more questions, we are just going to close. Please make sure that you share the recording tomorrow. If you register for this presentation, you will be getting the YouTube link tomorrow morning, so you could share it with your network. Also, if you are following Max on his Facebook page, he also has it there. He just shared it through Facebook Live. I also share it through my Facebook Live page. Through my page, I share the Facebook Live. So make sure that you are also looking at it and share it on your groups. And again, Max, thank you so much for putting this together. Thank you for your tireless work to make sure that other families, again, don't go through what you went through. And that shows the incredible individual that you are. And thank you for sharing this with us tonight.
Thank you for having me, John.
I appreciate it. Have a wonderful night, everyone. And we'll see you in a couple of weeks in another community meeting. Thank you.
Wonderful. Have a good night. Bye-bye.